Now, we don't have anything here at all.
Oh, it just needs to...
Is it on or?
No.
Oh,
Coming?
Yep. We have Dell. Whenever Dell turns up, you know you're on the way. In my very early years here as a pastor, I was very impressed by the quality and the character of the New Zealand pastors that were brought over. And I began to hear different names that were mentioned and mentioned very, very frequently. Peter Morris' name was the most frequently mentioned name, and then there were other names too. And within a very short time, we established a very close relationship with Peter. Peter actually became the principal oversight for our church, and Peter had a sort of mentoring role in my own life too for that period of time. And one time while I was talking with him, he had mentioned one of the other names that I used to hear a couple of years earlier. And I just asked him about that person. He said, oh, they live in Brisbane now. I said, oh, they live in Brisbane. I'd never heard them speak, but I thought, oh, I'd love to actually bring them out. And I asked Peter if he had a contact phone number or contact address. And I immediately noted Peter's reserve and his reticence about passing on any information. And I said, what's wrong? And he said, this man had a very prominent ministry in New Zealand. He said, but he didn't guard his heart. And in any kind of leadership situation, there are constant attacks and constant things happening. And rather than guarding his heart, this man let these things get into his heart. And I think Peter even may have used the term, he finished up just wearing his heart on his sleeve, you know that term. And he said the man just could not then, after that time, the ministry role that he had began to diminish and diminish. And he said, if you'd like to have him out, by all means, but just want you to know that he hasn't been back to New Zealand and he hasn't had prominence in ministry since moving to Brisbane. And it's interesting that from that day to this, I've never heard the man's name mentioned again. And I want to just take up this theme. It's a very strong biblical theme of guarding the heart. When the Bible talks about the heart, did it move there? Did it move there? Not moving here either, so can you put the next slide up? When the Bible talks about the heart, I want to just give it some kind of definition, first of all, because when you think of a pilot getting into a plane, he gets into the cockpit, and we tend to think, well, we think of the heart as being probably more like the pilot, but a better picture would be the pilot in the cockpit becomes a better picture of the heart. Another picture might be of a captain on a ship, and we would say, well, maybe the captain himself is a good picture of the heart. But it's more the captain on the bridge of the ship. It brings together more than just the man. It brings together something that is deeper, that how the man, whether he's a pilot in a plane, how he directs that plane. And sometimes it goes slightly beyond what the pilot might be conscious of, and it goes beyond what the captain of a ship may be actually personally conscious of. When the Bible talks about the heart, there are scriptures from the Old and New Testament. I'll just read one in 1 Samuel 16:7. It said, man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. We know the context of this is when Jesse is bringing his sons before Samuel. And Jesse, the father of numerous sons, is thinking knows that one of his sons is going to be picked out by Samuel the prophet. And God's speaking, and God says, hey, man looks on the outward person, but God looks on the heart. And so none of the sons who were there are chosen. The son who was ultimately chosen, of course, is David. A more confronting scripture. In Isaiah 29:13, these people come near to me with their mouth and honour me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. So in Isaiah's day, the people drew near outwardly. They were outwardly religious, but their hearts were not with God. Their hearts were not doing the things that God wanted them to do. I'd like to just read some scriptures from Matthew chapter 12, where Jesus talked a little bit further about the heart. Then we're going to be talking about guarding the heart. But in Matthew chapter 12, I'm reading first of all verse 33. The Lord Jesus said, make a tree good. Make a tree good. Lost my place here. There it is. And its fruit will be good. Or make a tree bad, its fruit will be bad. For a tree is recognized by its fruit. So here he's actually aligning the heart, as God sees the heart, with a tree. He's saying that if the heart is good, they'll come forth good fruit, like a tree. If a tree is good, it'll bring forth good fruit. If the tree is bad, it'll bring forth bad fruit. And when the heart is bad, the heart brings forth bad fruit. And when the heart is good, the heart brings forth good fruit. Then the next verse, Jesus said, you brood of vipers, how can you who are evil say anything good? Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. We have the next slide. So what happens is that if I'm wanting to know what's in my heart, I simply have to listen to my own words. Because what's in my heart will come out through my words. And I remember one time doing a brief course in counselling I was just going to do in a Bible college, just one day each week, and they were just doing a counselling course, and it was all on what they call neuro-linguistic planning, but it all related to this area of listening to the way people speak and catching what's inside someone's heart by the words that come out of their mouth. And the person who was lecturing was trying to teach us to listen very, very closely. How many ears do you have? Two. How many mouths do you have? One. So if you have double the number of ears to the number of mouths that you have, then it's needful, I think, for us to be far more willing to listen. 2 ears to 1 mouth. So listen. Listen to what people say. Sometimes people get a bit upset when I tell them things they've said. They've often denied to me that they said it, and I thought I'd listen very, very closely. And I've learned over many, many years, because I know that the heart will ultimately speak through the mouth. Then verse 35, it said, the good man brings good things out of the good stored up in him. The evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in him. And then Jesus goes on to say this, but I tell you, men will have to give account of every careless word they have spoken. By your words you will be acquitted. By your words you will be condemned. And that's been a very difficult verse for many, many people. And to me what it's saying is this, that the judgment is actually over the heart. But the heart is reflected by our words. So if God judges us according to our words, He's actually judging us according to our heart, which my understanding from Romans is what the final judgment will actually be. So our words reveal our heart, so God's judgment over our words is a judgment over our heart. Now if you do have a Bible, I'd like you to come with me to the text that I'm going to be sharing on this morning. It's Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 23. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 23. Well known to most of us, I would think. Verse 23 says this, I'm reading from the NIV. It says, above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. Above all else, guard your heart. And because the NIV words are like that, I have been aware for quite some time when I particularly was reading the New American Standard Bible, which I still read as my devotional Bible, that it worded it slightly differently and it's a little more accurate. The New American Standard is often taken to be a very wooden translation, but it's a very accurate translation. And it's thus far to me, it's the most accurate translation that I've actually read. So I do use it still in my own devotional reading. And in the New American Standard, instead of saying above all else guard your heart, it says this, it says watch over your heart with all diligence. Watch over your heart with all diligence. The first word, the initial word that was used for watch over, means to be a guard. It's used in Isaiah in the call to watch over those who are on the wall, a city that is under siege. Now when a city was under siege, they would have watchmen on the various walls, because what they'd want to do is when one part of the wall was broken down, they would try to move as many of the defending soldiers inside the city to the area of the wall that had been broken down. So those who served on the wall had to be people who would be very watchful and very careful, people who were able to give an accurate account. So when the writer uses the word here, and it's saying, guard your heart, he's saying that we're to be guards who are so careful, like a guard on a city wall where the city is under siege. And then the next part of that verse says, and again I'm going back to the New American Standard, watch over your heart with all diligence. And again the word diligence is not related to the first word, but this word also meant to be a guard, it meant to protect, it meant to keep something. It's used in Genesis 40 of when Pharaoh's baker and his cupbearer are put in prison, and while in prison they are to be guarded, and it's the exact same word used here. So it's saying that we're to guard our own heart, we're to watch over our heart with the diligence of someone who is watching over people who have been placed in prison. Some of you might remember, this would be quite a number of years back, at least 10 years back, when we had an unusual number of escapes from the prison complexes down here. And there had been so many that someone made up a sign, and they put it on what's now the Ipswich motorway, then we just called it Brisbane Road down there. But this sign said, warning, slow, prisoners cross here at night. Because so many had escaped, and so many had crossed that particular street. And they were making fun of it. But this is the word that Proverbs 4 uses. So it's saying that we're to watch over our own heart, to watch over, to guard, like a guard on a city wall when a city is under siege. And we're to do this with diligence, the diligence of someone who's looking after someone who is serving time in prison. So it's saying we're to watch over and to guard and to protect our own heart. So why are we to do this? Could we have the next slide? Why are we to do it? And our text says, when I go back to it, it said, for it, meaning the heart, is the wellspring of life. It is the wellspring of life. And what do we think of when we think of a spring? Not spring the season, but what do we think of when we think of a spring? Fresh. We think of water bubbling up out of the earth. And it's interesting, when I looked at this word, I looked at the number of times it was used in the Old Testament, used 23 times. But 20 of the 23 times, it means the border. When it talks about how far someone's land went, and then where the limit of their land, where the border was, they used this word. And it wasn't that there was a literal spring on the border, but this word came to mean and was used constantly through the Old Testament for a border, for the edge of someone's land. The edge of someone's land. So why do we have to guard our heart? The next slide. We have to guard our heart because the border, the boundaries of our life are determined by our heart. So that's what this scripture is saying. Watch over your heart with all diligence, because the wellspring, and it could and perhaps should have been translated, the borders of your heart will be the borders of your life rather, will be determined by your heart. So if someone, even a Christian, does not work on their heart, then their borders, how far they go in life, will always be limited. You'll be limited by your heart ultimately. Ultimately, we're limited by our heart. 20 out of 23 times in the Old Testament, the word means the border. And you look at each context, it's always how far someone's property line or someone's border, the border of a nation or the border of adjoining nations. So the heart determines our borders, how far we go in life. So it is imperative that we watch over our heart. You will not go further than your heart in life, ultimately. Maybe for a short period of time, but not ultimately. So what do we have to do? Next slide. The scripture is so clear, we are to guard our heart. And I want to take two parts of this. You guard, first of all, what you let into your heart. What you let into your heart. And obviously it means music, it means movies, it means television shows, it means internet, it means books. And I realise we aren't the same. We all have different sensitivities. But I am aware that for many, many years, the various armed forces all around the world to desensitise soldiers to suffering, to desensitise them to bloodshed, to desensitise them to actually killing people. They must desensitise people. They will do it by exposing them to extremes in video games, in movies, in all different ways, so that the soldier becomes desensitised. Now, I know when I say this, I always have people later on who say, well, I'm not like that. But can I just say this? If the research tells me that the more we're exposed to extreme violence, the less sensitive we become toward it, I actually don't want to lose that sensitivity. I don't want to look at something in the paper and think, oh, that's just nothing. I don't want to look at something when there's bloodshed or there's sexual areas or a whole lot of stuff and just think, oh, that's nothing. I want always to have a sensitivity in my own heart. So there does have to be care there, even with music. How many of you were children of the 60s? You know, I was in we were in Coles, I think, the other day, and there's a Righteous Brothers song. I'm not going to name the song because it'll start playing in your head. And I tell you what, that song this morning is still playing inside my head. And all I did was just heard a little bit of it. Now, I did make the mistake of singing along quietly to it, which is an absolute no-no. Once you sing along to the song, you're a goner. But the song this morning was still there. And when did we go to Coles? Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, whatever. And the song just kept playing and playing and playing. So see, there is a need. Someone might say, are you saying we shouldn't listen to any secular music? No, definitely not saying that. But I'm saying that when, even like 40, 50 years later, a song comes on and you can sing along every single word, something is still up there. I went to a real estate place the other day because one of our neighbours decided they'd like us to pay half the bill for the fence. And there's music playing in there. I didn't know the song. But you know, one of the workers behind the desk, while she's typing away, is singing along with every single word. I can't even work out what the words are, because it's running in a way that, you know, that, plus the fact that I can't hear very well these days, but even beyond all that, and she's singing along the whole time while I'm in this real estate place. So we aren't all the same. We have different sensitivities. But I do think that we do have to be careful of things that are outside of us coming in. The other thing we have to, I think, be so careful of, oh, next slide. We have to be very careful. We must guard our heart from toxic ways of thinking. For you as a Christian, it won't be usually something from the outside, an external stimulus. It'll be a way of thinking that's a toxic way of thinking. And if you let that toxic way of thinking into your heart, you let that thing stay in there, inside your heart, the tree will finally become a mess, and then the fruit becomes a mess. How many times have you gone to a tree somewhere to pull off fruit, and maybe you found that the fruit has been bad in some way? Maybe you've bitten into an apple, and you think, whoa, and you look at it, and it's brown all the way through. You done that? The outside of the apple looks really great. Mind you, I watch people in some of the stores like Coles, Woolworths and so on, and they squeeze every single piece of fruit. Most of what they squeeze, they put back. So I'm kind of thinking, unless I'm right in there when they first put the fruit out, every bit of fruit that people buy has been squeezed by at least 20 people. Guard our heart from toxic ways of thinking. Let me just run through, not in any way exhaustive. An exhaustive list would have hundreds. But let me just run through. These are toxic ways of thinking. Thinking God could never love me. That He loves others more than He loves me. Toxic way of thinking. Thinking I'm no good, I'm bad, I'll never amount to anything. Toxic. Worrying about things all the time, constantly anxious. Toxic way of thinking. You don't worry about anything, do you? Oh. Unforgiveness, toxic way. I was going to talk about this more, but I think time-wise I'll leave it for up ahead. But But forgiveness is a decision, it is not an emotion. You decide to forgive people, and then it's like, I've used the same picture, but when you're out on someone's farm, you can always tell where the cows go to drink. And it's not because of just the manure, it's how else do you know? The track. They follow the same track. And so when you had thoughts going into your mind and through your mind, you have to somehow stop the constancy, the thoughts have been coming in, coming in, coming in. Forgiveness puts an end to that. It is a decision. Once you've made the decision, like you've shut the door, no more will those thoughts come in. The thoughts try to come in, and then it's discipline to keep those negative thoughts out. Another one, enjoying the attention of being sick. You've never done that, have you? Yes, you have. Oh, I want to tell some stories, but my goodness, I'll have to do it in some other church. Being critical of others, being cynical, being negative, toxic. Not letting others speak into our lives. Toxic. Having a victim mentality. You've never had a victim mentality, have you? I remember once trying with Teresa. I never let her know this. So can you just put your hands over her ear? I remember once she was just correcting me on something which she hardly ever does. And you know how like sometimes men don't like being corrected by their wives? Have you? Yeah. And I found myself saying, oh, it's always me. I said that. And the moment I said it, I thought, victim. I'm the victim here. I'm a victim. Oh, woe is me, I'm a victim. Teresa didn't answer. Hopefully she didn't hear. Victim, oh, it's always me, isn't it? Yeah, I'm always the one. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Victim mentality. Oh, keeps Christ out of your life. A victim mentality. Finding our identity in anything outside of who we are in Christ. Victim mentality. Sorry. Toxic thinking. Constantly regretting past decisions. Oh, if only I'd done that, if only I'd done that. Always living like thinking this, if only. Toxic. Perfectionism. Toxic. I mean, it's really good when things are done well. We like things being done well, but when it's something, when it becomes so extreme that it just has to be done a certain way, something cannot be done any other way. Toxic thinking. Living out of fear, setting boundaries, only ever living within our comfort zone because of fear of doing anything outside of that. Toxic. Unwillingness to yield to delegated authority. And I want to talk a little bit about this up ahead, but these are areas God goes after because He wants Christ in us. Toxic. Oversensitivity to others' feelings and reactions. Oversensitivity. There's been a difficult church situation. I've tried to talk about it on a Sunday morning, and one of the elders has come up to me and said, well, you walked an absolute perfect fine line, didn't you? You didn't want to upset anyone. It's really funny. I thought I was really being a little bit bold, but never mind. All right. And looking down on others, on other groups of people, because of gender, ethnicity, background, colour, skin, whatever. Toxic. Being overly controlled. Toxic thinking. So when the Bible says guard your heart, and I haven't touched on, there's a whole list in Mark 7 from verse 20 to verse 23. 4 verses where Jesus talks about all the things that we let into the heart that should not be there. But so this is letting stuff in. So next slide. Let's talk about what comes out of the heart. So we have to guard, number one, what we let into our heart. We have to guard what we let out of our heart. Someone may say, but didn't you say, Jeff, that like the heart speaks through the mouth? So, hey, do you know that you have a millisecond before you speak to decide whether you're going to say what you're going to say? You have that millisecond. And in that millisecond, you cannot say something. And in that millisecond, you can say something. How many have not taken advantage of their millisecond often enough? And you said something and you thought, oh, I shouldn't have said that. How do world wars begin? By people not taking advantage of their milliseconds. And then a bit more here, and a bit more there, and a bit more there, and a bit more there. And suddenly, another war, another war. I want to bring, I did want to make this morning shorter. Let me share a story. I know you've heard it before. Some of you weren't listening the other 16 times I told it. Quite a number of years back, there was a family that just came into the church. They lived out country way and came in for about 3 months. And came in on Sunday nights, actually when we had Sunday night meetings here, so this actually goes back a long time. And then they stopped coming, and then maybe a year or so later I got a phone call from a pastor out in town further out, and they said, oh, I've got the family, and they named the family, and I remembered it was a family that had been here for about 3 months, and I said, the pastor said to me, would like you to come up and just like you to sit in on a conversation, having trouble with their eldest daughter, and just want to see whether, perhaps you can have input into the situation. So I kind of went up and drove out, and as I sat down, and the pastor was like in the middle, and just said to the couple, so do you want to speak first of all? And then the mother, she eyed me with blazing eyes. And I thought, uh-oh. She said, as straight as she could, she said, my daughter has all these troubles and it's all your fault. And I'm thinking, what? And my millisecond was very long. Everything within, I don't know what I was going through right then. I nearly got up and walked out. So there must have been, I must have been a little bit fragile. I didn't have a lot of reaction room. But I just sat there while she bombarded me that all the stuff their daughter had gone through had been my own fault. I tried to gently say that they're only here for a couple of months, maybe might have come to 9, 10, 11 meetings in all that time. They were Sunday nights, which were very short meetings anyway. I'd never spoken with this daughter personally, apart to just nod and say hello when the family came in. But because I would not and didn't and used my millisecond well enough and didn't say what I wanted to say, what do you think I wanted to say? God bless you. But I didn't. And I was able to, bit by bit, and I tell you what, it took a long time before everything settled down. And we left on speaking terms. It was a relief to get into my car though. I tell you what, when I got into my car and turned on the engine, I drove a little bit quick initially, just in case they were chasing me. But it was a really heavy situation. Now, I say that because I had the chance to let what I'd let into my heart, all of the turmoil come out. I don't know, maybe another year later, I'm talking with someone who lives Kingaroy way. And this guy's father is a pastor who I've known for years and years and years and years. He was a pastor in the early CLCI days when our church first came into Christian Life churches. And I'm just chatting with him and he said, oh, you'd love this story. Dad had this family come in. And they were in the church a little while, and then I asked to make an appointment with him. And then the family came in, and then the mum turned on my dad and said, our daughter has all these problems, and it's your fault. And I said, what's the name of the family? Same name. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. I don't know how that particular pastor handled it. I know he retired, still alive as far as I know, so it didn't kill him. But we have a moment often to just guard not only we have our life to guard what comes into our mouth, but we have into our heart, but we sometimes have just moments to guard all the stuff. And I'm thinking, if you do want to look it up, Mark 7, 22, 23. We have our next slide. The Bible says a great deal about guarding the mouth. This is a well-known scripture. Set a guard over my mouth, O Lord. Keep watch over the door of my lips. Psalm 141, verse 3. So, what I'm saying this morning, we have our next line, is that you guard your heart. Because your heart will determine your border, the borders of your life. The borders of your life will be determined by your heart. And I'm asking you to be very careful what you let into your heart. And then perhaps if you do go to the scriptures in Mark 7 and begin to look at some of the things that Jesus warned about, the things that get into the human heart, then knowing this, that when there are instances, and I talked about this last Sunday morning, when there are instances where our heart is revealed to us, that's God saying, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm working on. So when we know this is what He's working on, He's revealed it to us. We don't go into rights and wrongs about the reaction and everything else. And I just come back and I say, God, help me with this. This is what you're working on. So guard what you let into your heart, and then guard what comes out of the heart. Guard your words, and in that little reaction time that you have, be careful that you don't go too much another way. You know, all this means nothing, or is of little help, I should say, to someone who doesn't know Christ. If someone has never yielded their life to Christ, someone has never, ever looked that there's a God, been out at night, you've seen the stars, you've just wondered about the great and mighty God out there. What will happen toward the end of life? I had someone recently make contact with me. I told you about a man, he shared on a Sunday morning here, literally decades back. He was a lecturer at Newcastle University. I thought he was an older man then. That was a long time back, 45 years back. This man, I've just in this last week regained contact with him after all this time. He continues to tell me that I am on his prayer list every day. For 45 years. Every day. 45 years he continues praying for me. He said, you might remember Dr. Kurthoys. And I thought, I remember Dr. Kurthoys. He was the most rabid communist atheist in all of university days. Oh, everyone knew him. You know, he would blast you with his communist stuff. And he kind of, this Dr. Kurthoys took a bit of a liking to me, because I was involved with a lot of anti-draft stuff and got in trouble with the police and a lot of stuff to do with national service in those days. So, and this man, Ron Gibbons, who contacted me, said I tracked him down the other day. He said, we're both now in our 90s. And he said, I've had 3 conversations with him. And I've been telling him, you're coming to the end of your life and you're not ready for what's beyond it, are you? And he said, Dr. Kurthoys said, all my life I've denied that there's a God. But now as I come to the end of my life, suddenly something inside me is saying, you're not ready for the next step. You're not ready for it. So you've got 2 90-year-old men, where one is still an atheistic communist, the other is just a wonderful glowing Christian. And this 90-year-old Christian, Ron, is sharing with this 90-plus whatever-year-old Dr. Kurthoys, sharing the gospel with him, sharing with him that if he puts his faith in Christ, that when Christ went to the cross, He bore our sins, and we enter into the reality of that when we put our faith in Him. Not like a blanket thing that well, He did it, I don't have to do anything. It only becomes effective when I personally put my faith in Christ. So he would be sharing it with Dr. Kurthoys. You have to personally put your faith in Christ. If you've never done that, this morning may be the opportunity for you. Musicians, if you come, we're going to close off singing the lovely old chorus, The Power of Your Love. And I want to just ask you this morning, where you stand with what has been shared. Do you even know Christ? Is there a time when you can look back on, when you say, that's when I yielded my life to Christ. That's when I crossed the line. That's when I put my faith in Christ. If you've never done that, this morning may be the time when you do that. As we sing this chorus, if you are in that place and this morning you want to receive Christ, I'd invite you to come forward and stand along the front. You may be someone who just recognized that you've been kind of playing around with this whole heart thing. Even though you've known that you should guard your heart and watch over your heart, you've let stuff into your heart and maybe let stuff out of your heart. And you feel that if others prayed with you, there'd be benefit in that. Then as we sing this through together too, if you like prayer, I'd like you to come out the way. So let's stand and sing this through. Lord, I come to you. Let my heart be changed.